The morning air was crisp and quiet, but Lydia Mercer was wide awake, her heart already beating faster than usual. Today wasn't just another day at the station. It was a chance to work with Aspen, her German shepherd and partner, who was anything but ordinary. Aspen wasn't just a dog. She was sharp, fearless, and stubborn in the best possible way. Lydia knelt beside Aspen, fastening the search vest around her muscular frame. "Ready for today, girl?" she whispered. Aspen's dark eyes met hers, shining with a fierce intelligence. The bond between them was more than training. It was trust, a connection built over years, tested in silence, and sealed by moments no one else could understand. Aspen nudged Lydia's hand as if saying, "I've got this." Lydia smiled but felt a knot of worry tighten. Aspen wasn't just any police dog. She had a gift, an instinct that often meant breaking the rules. Handlers sometimes called her disobedient. Lydia knew better. Aspen wasn't ignoring commands, she was listening to something deeper. "Come on, Aspen," Lydia said softly, standing up. Around them, other teams prepared for a routine search, exercise. But Lydia and Aspen shared a quiet world of their own. She trusted Aspen to follow her nose even when it meant going off script. "Sergeant Carter says weather's perfect for scent work." Lydia heard a voice nearby. "Humidity holds the odors close." She nodded, feeling Aspen shift beside her. The dog's ears perked up, muscles tensed, ready to spring. Training was supposed to be simple. Find the scent pads hidden in the forest and mark them. But Aspen was restless, more focused than usual. Lydia's gut told her today wouldn't be routine. "Stay close," Lydia murmured as Aspen began to move, nose to the ground. Her partner was methodical, searching every inch, quartering through the trees, with practiced grace. Yet, beneath that calm exterior, Lydia sensed a spark, something waiting to ignite. "Good girl," Lydia praised quietly, watching Aspen pause and sniff deeper into the air. For 3 years they had worked side by side, sharing victories and frustrations. But Aspen's true strength was how she knew when to trust herself, even if it meant breaking all the rules. Suddenly, Aspen's steady pace faltered. She lifted her head, eyes scanning beyond the assigned search area. Lydia called her back with a hand signal, but Aspen didn't respond. The dog's body shifted, alert, urgent, almost desperate. "Aspen, no," Lydia said, voice tight. But the dog pulled away, breaking their pattern, heading toward a thick patch of forest they weren't supposed to enter. Sergeant Carter frowned from a distance, voice sharp over the radio. "Control your dog, Mercer. We have a schedule." Lydia's heart pounded. She knew Aspen wasn't disobeying out of stubbornness. Aspen was following a scent only she could sense. "Just trust her," Lydia whispered to herself, stepping forward. Their bond was unbreakable, and today that bond was about to be tested like never before. Aspen's paws barely made a sound as she moved deeper into the forest, nose close to the ground. Lydia followed closely, clipboard in hand, watching her partner work with practiced focus. This was supposed to be a simple training day, finding hidden scent pads, nothing more. But something was different today. "Aspen, find," Lydia commanded softly. The German shepherd obeyed at first, her tail wagging slightly as she sniffed out the first scent pad. Lydia smiled. "Good girl." But then things changed. Aspen's usual steady rhythm faltered. She paused, ears twitching, then abruptly pulled away from Lydia's side. "Aspen, come back," Lydia called, but the dog didn't respond. Instead, Aspen began circling a small patch of earth, her body tense, eyes locked on the ground beneath. Her pause. Lydia's heart skipped. "Aspen, no. Stay with me." She tried again, but Aspen ignored her. The dog's behavior was breaking every rule they had drilled into her. It was as if Aspen was hearing something no one else could. "Sergeant," Carter's voice crackled over the radio. "Mercer, control your dog. We're on a tight schedule." Frustration surged through Lydia. She glanced at Carter, then back to Aspen. The dog's circling grew more frantic. "Why won't you listen?" Lydia whispered, torn between following protocol and trusting her partner. Aspen suddenly stopped, pawing at the dirt with increasing urgency. Lydia's breath caught. "What is it, girl? What did you find?" The tension around them thickened. Other teams paused, watching with curious and worried eyes. The forest seemed to hold its breath. "Aspen, come here." Lydia's voice softened, trying one last time to pull the dog away. But Aspen remained fixated, whining quietly, digging deeper with desperate energy. Lydia took a step forward, placing a hand on Aspen's shoulder. "Okay, girl, let's see what's got you so worked up." Her fingers brushed over the disturbed soil Aspen had uncovered. It wasn't part of their training. Something was buried here, something important. Lydia looked into Aspen's eyes and knew without a doubt that today's routine exercise had turned into something far bigger, something that would change everything. Aspen's paws hit the earth, with a desperate urgency, clawing at the soil like she was trying to pull out a secret buried deep beneath. Lydia's heart pounded louder with every frantic dig. The other officers stood frozen, their faces pale, watching as the dog's restless energy filled the silent clearing. "Aspen, slow down," Lydia whispered. But the dog wouldn't stop. She circled again and again, pawing the same spot with fierce determination. The usual training commands were useless now. Aspen was breaking every rule she'd been taught. Sergeant Carter stepped closer, brows furrowed. "Mercer, control your dog. This isn't a training alert." His voice was sharp, but even he looked uncertain, a flicker of something like fear crossing his face. Lydia shook her head, clutching Aspen's leash tighter. "No, Carter, this isn't just training. Aspen knows something." Her voice was steady, but inside she was racing. The dog's behavior told her this was serious, too serious to ignore. "Get me a shovel," Lydia ordered a nearby trainee. She bent down and began gently brushing away loose leaves and twigs, exposing patches of bare earth. The soil was softer here, disturbed recently. Aspen's digging wasn't random. Minutes passed as Lydia and the team worked together, slowly, uncovering more of the ground. The tension was unbearable. Aspen stood alert, eyes scanning every movement, ready to dig again if needed. Then the sound came, a dull thud against the shovel. Lydia froze, breath caught in her throat. "Hold up," she whispered, dropping to her knees beside the hole. Carefully, she brushed away the dirt, revealing something that didn't belong in this forest. A hand, pale, still, and partially buried, came into view. Lydia's fingers trembled as she cleared more soil, revealing fingers curled unnaturally. Gasps echoed among the team. Sergeant Carter's skepticism vanished, replaced by a grim understanding. "This is no training aid," Carter said quietly, stepping back. "We've found human remains." Lydia swallowed hard, eyes locked on Aspen, who sat obediently now, as if she knew the moment had come. "You were right, girl," Lydia said softly. "You never break rules without reason." The forest, once peaceful, now felt heavy, like it was holding a terrible secret. Lydia's faith in Aspen's instincts had been tested, and the dog's silent message was clear. Justice was waiting beneath the earth, and they had just uncovered the first piece. The weight of silence hung heavy as the team stared down at the freshly uncovered grave. Lydia's breath came shallow, her eyes never leaving the pale hand partially buried beneath the earth. Around them, faces were tight with shock and disbelief. This was no longer a training exercise. It was a tragedy, laid bare. Sergeant Carter broke the silence, his voice low but firm. "We need to call in the detectives. This changes everything." Lydia nodded, her fingers tightening on Aspen's leash. The dog sat calmly beside her, as if sensing the gravity of the moment. Aspen's fierce instincts had led them here to a truth too painful to ignore. "Who could have done this?" whispered one of the officers. The question hung in the air like a shadow. Lydia looked down at Aspen, her eyes filled with a mix of sorrow and determination. "We'll find out. Aspen won't let this go." As the forensic team arrived, Lydia felt the sharp edge of grief cutting through the forest. The boy's identity was unknown for now, but Aspen's focus never wavered. The dog had sensed more than just a scent. She had sensed a life lost too soon. Detective Whitley approached, his face grim but respectful. "Officer Mercer, tell me about your dog's alert." How did Aspen know this was different? Lydia took a deep breath. Aspen isn't just trained to follow commands. She senses when something's wrong, when a scent tells a story no one else can hear. Today she broke every rule because she trusted that instinct. Whitley nodded, glancing at the uncovered grave. That kind of intuition is rare. It changes the game. The team worked carefully, documenting every detail. The boy's clothes were worn and the earth was packed tightly as if someone had tried to hide him. Lydia's heart ached for the life that had been silenced here. 3 or 4 months, maybe longer, whispered a forensic expert. Time enough for pain to turn to mystery. Lydia swallowed hard, eyes moist. She knelt beside Aspen, who rested her head gently against Lydia's hand. You did something amazing today, Lydia whispered. You gave this boy a voice. The forest seemed to hold its breath as the team prepared to dig deeper into the mystery. For Lydia, Aspen's rare gift was no longer just a skill, it was a beacon of hope. We owe this boy justice, Lydia said, standing tall, and I promise Aspen and I won't stop until we find it. The discovery had shaken everyone, but for Lydia and Aspen, the work was only beginning. Back at the command post, detectives sifted through missing persons reports, names, dates, descriptions, all potential clues to the boy beneath the soil. Here's one, said Detective Whitley, pointing to a photo on his laptop. Ryan Hollister, missing for 4 months. Last, seen hiking near Crestwood Park about 20 miles from here. Lydia studied the image, a smiling teenager with sandy hair and freckles. Something about the boy's eyes made her pause. Aspen, she whispered, calling her partner close. The dog sniffed the air, tail flicking, alert. We need to follow this scent, Lydia said, grabbing Aspen's leash. The forest wasn't just a place of shadows now. It held answers, waiting to be uncovered. They moved carefully, Aspen's nose low to the ground. The dog's focus never wavered, tracing a faint trail through dense trees and fallen leaves. Lydia felt the weight of the past pulling them forward. After some time, Aspen stopped suddenly by a small clearing. Lydia noticed a fire ring made of stones, surrounded by crushed leaves and discarded beer cans. The campsite looked abandoned but recently used. Someone was here, Lydia murmured. Aspen sat, eyes fixed on a pile of rocks at the clearing's edge. She pawed at the ground, signaling something hidden beneath. Lydia knelt down, lifting rocks, one by one. Beneath, she found a cracked cell phone wrapped in plastic. Why hide this here? She wondered aloud. As the team documented the campsite, whispers spread about what else might be lurking in these woods. Lydia's heart tightened. This was more than just a missing boy. It was a secret some wanted buried deep. Nearby, tire tracks faintly marked the muddy ground. Looks like they drove in, one officer noted. The group hadn't come just to hike. They were hiding something. Lydia watched Aspen work, amazed by the dog's ability to piece together stories the humans couldn't see. Every scent was a whisper of the past, every alert a call for justice. This case isn't just about finding Ryan, Lydia said quietly. It's about uncovering the shadows that tried to swallow him whole. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the forest floor. Lydia felt Aspen's steady presence beside her, a reminder that sometimes, even in darkness, hope could be found. The forest held its secrets tightly, but sometimes a quiet voice could break through. That voice belonged to Caleb Sullivan, a park ranger with years of experience and sharp eyes that missed little. When he heard about the grave uncovered by Aspen, he knew the location immediately. I remember seeing a group of young men camping. There, Caleb told Detective Whitley and Lydia, his face serious. It was about 4 months ago, early June. 4 teenagers, all guys, with a red Jeep Wrangler. Whitley leaned forward. Did anything seem unusual? Caleb nodded slowly. They looked nervous, like they were hiding something. Their tents were still packed, but the fire had been burning for a while and there were lots of empty beer cans. Lydia exchanged a look with Whitley. The campsite wasn't just abandoned, it was left in a hurry. Something had scared them off. "Did you talk to them?" Lydia asked. "I tried," Caleb said. "One of them was confrontational. The others seemed tense, but I figured they were just spooked about being caught on closed land." The Rangers. Words added a new layer to the mystery. These boys weren't just hikers, they were hiding secrets. And the lies they told would soon come crashing down. Aspen, meanwhile, was leading Lydia through thick brush, nose glued to the ground. The dog was relentless, tracking scents most humans couldn't even detect. "Come on, Aspen," Lydia encouraged. "Show me what else you can find." The dog stopped abruptly near a pile of rocks. Lydia carefully moved the stones, revealing a battered cell phone wrapped in plastic, a deliberate hiding spot. "This could be the key," Lydia whispered, "evidence that breaks the silence." Back at the station, they compared photos of the teenagers Caleb had seen with missing persons reports. Faces stared back, friends of the boy beneath the soil, tied to secrets and fear. Lydia looked at Aspen, pride and sadness mixing in her eyes. "You're not just a dog, you're a witness to the truth." The forest, once a place of shadows and silence, was now a stage where lies would be exposed, and Aspen was leading the charge, uncovering what no one else dared to face. Sometimes, the quietest witness speaks the loudest. The interrogation room was cold and bare, a harsh place for truth to surface. Jason Morrow sat across from Detective Whitley, shoulders hunched, eyes darting nervously. Beside him, his mother clutched her purse tightly, silent tears streaking her face. Lydia watched from the doorway, Aspen sitting calmly at her side, eyes alert but still. The dog's quiet presence was a comfort, a silent reminder that justice was near. Whitley spoke softly but firmly. "Jason, we know you weren't alone that night. Your friends were with you, and the photos tell a different story." Jason swallowed hard, voice shaking. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't mean for Ryan to get hurt." Lydia felt her heart tighten. The weight of guilt hung thick in the room. "He fell." "I didn't see it at first," Jason said, eyes fixed on the table. "There was an argument, Tyler and Ryan. It got ugly. Ethan tried to stop them, but then Ryan slipped. He hit his head on the fire ring." "Did you try to get help?" Whitley asked quietly. "No," Jason admitted, voice barely a whisper. "We were scared. We didn't know what to do. Tyler said we had to bury him, hide everything. We were drunk, scared of going to jail." Lydia's throat tightened. The tragedy unfolded in slow, painful pieces, a moment that spiraled into a lifetime of regret. Jason's mother sobbed softly, and Lydia felt the weight of what this family had lost. Outside, the room, Aspen rested her head on Lydia's knee, sensing the sorrow but standing steady. The dog had led them here, through darkness to this moment of truth. Whitley nodded to Lydia. "This confession changes everything. It's the first step toward justice." Lydia looked down at Aspen, grateful for the dog's fierce loyalty. "You did more than find a grave. You brought us to the truth." In the silence that followed, the promise hung in the air. No matter how deep the darkness, justice would find its way, guided by a dog who never gave up. The arrests had been made. Tyler, Ethan, and Jason were now behind bars, facing charges that matched the weight of their actions. The community, once silent and uncertain, began to breathe again. Justice, though slow, was finally unfolding. Lydia stood beside Aspen at the edge of the forest clearing. The place where the truth had been buried was now a place of remembrance. Families and friends had gathered, bringing flowers and quiet prayers. "This is more than just a case closed," Lydia said softly, her eyes meeting Aspen's steady gaze. "It's a chance to heal." Aspen rested her head on Lydia's knee, calm after days of relentless work. The dog's fierce determination had led them through the darkness to this moment of light. Sergeant Carter approached, nodding in respect. "You and Aspen broke the rules today, Mercer. But sometimes that's exactly what it takes." Lydia smiled, though the pain lingered. She always knows when to follow her heart. At the memorial, Ryan's parents placed a photo of their son against a tree. Elizabeth Hollister knelt beside Aspen, tears shining in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "For bringing him home?" Lydia felt the lump in her throat grow. This was why she trusted Aspen beyond protocol. The dog's instincts were a bridge between loss and hope. The town began to heal slowly. Stories of Aspen's bravery spread, inspiring others to believe in the power of trust between humans and animals. One evening, Lydia took Aspen to their favorite quiet spot overlooking the river. The sun dipped low, casting golden light over them. "You changed everything," Lydia murmured, scratching behind Aspen's ears. "Sometimes breaking the rules is what saves a life." Aspen leaned into her touch, eyes full of wisdom beyond words. Their journey wasn't over. But for now, justice had brought peace. And in that peace, a bond stronger than any rule held them together. Two souls connected by trust, courage, and love. The memorial was quiet except for soft whispers and the gentle rustle of leaves. Ryan's photo stood against a tall pine tree, surrounded by flowers and candles flickering in the cool breeze. Families, friends, and neighbors had come together, not just to mourn, but to honor a boy who had been lost too soon. Elizabeth Hollister knelt beside Aspen, her eyes full of tears but also of gratitude. "Thank you for bringing him back to us," she said softly, her voice trembling. Aspen sat still, allowing the gentle touch on her head, as if understanding every word. Lydia stood a little back, watching the scene unfold. Her heart ached for this family, who had carried so much pain for so long. But there was relief now. A small, fragile piece that had come from the dog's unyielding determination. "Ryan was more than a case to us," Lydia whispered to herself. "He was a life we had to fight for." Aspen, quiet but alert, nudged Lydia's hand, reminding her of the bond that had carried them through the darkest days. This dog wasn't just trained to follow commands. She was a partner who trusted her instincts, who saw beyond rules to something greater. "Sometimes the most important lessons come from breaking the rules," Lydia said aloud. "Aspen showed me that." Nearby, James Hollister embraced his wife, both finding strength in each other and in the justice that had finally been served. Lydia felt the weight of the moment, the mix of grief and healing, loss and hope. As the sun began to set, casting warm colors across the sky, Lydia led Aspen away from the memorial to their favorite quiet spot. The dog's tail wagged slowly, tired but content. "You did something incredible, Aspen," Lydia said, running her fingers through the dog's fur. "You gave a family closure. You gave me faith." Aspen leaned into Lydia's touch, eyes bright and calm. Their journey wasn't just about finding a missing boy. It was about trust, courage, and the extraordinary bond between a woman and her dog. And as the last light faded, Lydia knew that together, they could face whatever came next. Aspen's story didn't stay in the forest. It spread far beyond, reaching hearts around the world. People were amazed by a dog's courage, by her instinct to break rules for something greater. News outlets ran stories, calling Aspen a hero. The community that once mourned now celebrated the bond between Lydia and her extraordinary partner. Lydia watched it all unfold, proud but humble. "She's not just a dog," Lydia told a reporter during an interview. "Aspen is a reminder that trust can lead us through the darkest times." Letters and messages poured in, people sharing how Aspen's bravery gave them hope, how her story showed the special connection animals have with us. Lydia read each one quietly, feeling the weight of what they had accomplished together. One evening, Lydia sat with Aspen in their favorite quiet spot overlooking the river valley. The dog rested her head on Lydia's lap, eyes calm and wise. "We've come a long way, haven't we, girl?" Lydia said softly. Aspen wagged her tail as if agreeing. The bond they shared was more than training or commands. It was trust, a trust that let Aspen follow her instincts even when it meant breaking rules, and that trust had saved a life and brought justice where there was none. "Do you think we're ready for whatever's next?" Lydia asked, her fingers gently scratching behind Aspen's ears. The dog looked up, eyes meeting hers with quiet confidence. "We are," Lydia whispered. Aspen's story became a symbol, a legacy of hope, courage, and the incredible power of connection between humans and animals. It inspired other Canine teams and touched families who had lost loved ones. It reminded everyone that sometimes breaking the rules is exactly what justice needs. As the sun set, painting the sky with soft oranges and pinks, Lydia knew this was just the beginning. Their journey together was far from over. With Aspen by her side, Lydia was ready to face any challenge. Because when trust runs deeper than commands and love guides every step, even the darkest paths can lead to light. And so their story continued. Two souls united by a bond that could never be broken.